But there was another letter that came from a little girl.
Many of the historians said that this didn't exist.
That's been a mystery for going on 30, 35 years now.
The big question is, who's this girl? Who is she? Where is she?
In September of 1958, Dr. King was appearing at a department store in Harlem when he was stabbed in the chest by a mentally deranged woman. He's rushed to Harlem Hospital's emergency room, and the doctor tells journalists that the blade of the knife came so close to the aorta of Dr. King's heart that had he even sneezed, he almost certainly would have died. Fast forward almost 10 years to 1968, in what was perchance the last public speech he ever gave, King references back to one of these letters that he received.
But there was another letter that came from a little girl. It said simply, "Dear Dr. King, I am a 9th grade student at the White Plains High School." She said, "While it should not matter, I would like to mention that I'm a white girl. I read in the paper of your misfortune and of your suffering, and I read that if you had sneezed, you would have died. I'm simply writing you to say that I'm so happy that you didn't sneeze."
And he uses this line again and again in that extemporaneous speech.
If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been around here in 1962. The Negroes in Albany, Georgia decided to straighten their backs up.
The fact that it wasn't in any of the available King archives made people curious as to how did King have this memory? Was there such a letter? What had become of it?
My mission was to find this girl. I started talking to experts in the field of King research. Some people suspected that this letter never existed. I looked in all the newspaper, local newspapers in Westchester, etc., nothing. We checked with the high school. We just kept coming up with nothing. I started looking in the archives, a very prominent one in Boston. I checked with them, nothing. I checked with Stanford University. They didn't have anything on it. I checked with the King Center here in Atlanta, and they didn't have anything on it. And then I came to Morehouse. And I found in the Morehouse collection of King archives, there's an entire section dedicated to all the material that he received after he was stabbed in 1958.
There's a whole lot of material that you see of his rough drafts, his writings and personal letters, correspondence with other people. So it's a lot of material that is very special to Morehouse College.
There were approximately 1,800 pieces. Figured I'd go through all of them and see if I could find it. For about a week, I went through all this stuff and I got to the letter K, and it was mid-afternoon on a very quiet, boring day, going through all this stuff methodically, and I read Gene Kepler's letter, which ended with this famous line about the sneeze, and I literally jumped up from my chair and said, I got it. What we found was a letter from a 37-year-old young mother and has that famous line in it. But we didn't find a high school girl, and he quotes a letter that it doesn't exist. I mean, it was really exciting to call Gene Kepler's children and tell them that their mother, who they loved dearly, is a part of history that they never knew about.
Letter writing was a very big part of her activism. She wrote letters all the time, both to people that she thought were doing a great job and people that she thought were doing something terrible. And she did a lot of volunteer work as well for civil rights groups in particular. That was her passion. I think she'd be delighted to be a part of the history. She'd be delighted if she could know that she was part of the history. Maybe she did, but I was never aware of that. I'm proud of her, and I think she would have felt very good about it.